which seems to come around really quick every week. So we're glad for it. We're glad for the work that is being done, that this class is just a catalyst for something much bigger that is going to be accomplished from all these teachings. And we'll tell you more about that as it takes on shape and form for itself. It's a beautiful day here in Charlotte, North Carolina. For you that are joining us online from different places, I hope you're having as beautiful a day as we are here in Charlotte today. I'm going to begin with a word from Spirit today. Again, this is my friend Marcy Cheek from out in California, Laguna Beach, a dear friend for many, many years. I think we met around 83, probably, 84 in Indianapolis. And Marcy is, to say the least, one of the most unique people I've ever met in my life. She's a powerhouse, but she loves Spirit. And Marcy puts out something every day called A Word from Spirit. And why I'm promoting it is because it's from Spirit, not about Spirit. We've done enough talking about Spirit, but it's time Spirit has something to say. And I've shared with you in that last book of the Bible in Revelation that says 17 times, hear what the Spirit is saying to the church, the ecclesia, the community. So what is Spirit saying? So here's what Spirit is saying as of, I believe this is yesterday's actually. Today's hasn't come out because it's a little earlier in California and it is here. But this is what Spirit says for us. When a cycle of righteous judgment occurs, the worlds of life around you seem to be spinning out of control faster and faster till everything is a blur. Yet there's a haven of constancy at the center of the chaos where the sovereignty of God reigns in full power. In the natural world that you see, this manifests as the eye in the center of a hurricane. This is the center of calm where all things are working together for the highest and best good of all things, which is called many times the kingdom of God or sometimes the kingdom of heaven. It is inside of you. It is where you live in union with me. When you abide in this place, you will experience nothing but the calm, the peace in the midst of the storm and the chaos of everything that is breaking down. And I did the last there, Marcy, because I couldn't get the last part on my phone. So if you'd like to join Marcy's daily word from Spirit, you can text her, and I'm going to give you a number. Just do Word of Spirit to 949-433-3129. And I guess that's up there. 949-433-3129. Word of Spirit, and all you have to do is just give your email or your text. Probably, I think it's mostly through text. And you'll get these each and every day, what Spirit is saying on that day. So I think that's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Marcy, for doing that and allowing us to share and be a part of getting the word out for Spirit. All right, let's dive in and see how Spirit wants to put today's lesson together. I do spend time studying, and in the background, I can't help but hear God laughing. But we have to, I do think it's important that we feed the left brain the knowledge, especially a mind such as I have and others that have that are inquisitive minds, who like the research, who like to know, who like to dig in and not just take things on surface. I think for all of us that do that we end up connecting to such deeper levels of gnosis, of knowledge, and that's innately within us, ready to be awakened. So our subject began last week somewhat, laying the foundation for to study on a subject that is very familiar to most people who walk a spiritual, maybe less religious path, and that is these energy centers that are called chakras. Chakras. I know we say chakras, but it really is chakras. So, what are chakras? First of all, I'll just remind you that the word is Sanskrit, and because it was first seen through the intuition of the Eastern mind, mostly the Hindu mind, they began to recognize that the body had these major energy vortices throughout the body following the spine. And I'm sure that in the beginning they did not know how to define that and what it was, and it's then through the development of deep inner work that people have come to understand these things as vortices of energy that are spinning. So if you were looking at energy spinning, it would look to you like a spinning wheel. And therefore the word chakra comes from wheel. Even in the Bible, I remember a place where the prophet said, I see a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Ezekiel's wheel. And it said it was amber. Even gave the color. So amber would be more closely to somewhere between the sacral and the solar plex, because you got gold and you got yellow. So they were seeing what later is called the Hara belt, H-A-R-A. The Hara belt is what goes around that particular area. And we'll talk about that at some other time. So I know this is a subject that we all may react to the fact that we've overheard it, overused it. It's everywhere. Everybody's dealing with chakra balances, chakra frequencies, chakra this, chakra that. So I hope the class can give us just a little bit of a more clear spin to it that we can connect more to in the importance of recognizing and understanding the purposes of chakras. It is said in the East that to understand the chakra system is to understand ourselves. That is from Brahma Amanda, Swami Abranda Amanda. It says we will not understand ourselves without understanding our chakras. I'm going to give you a different term that may be more Western than Eastern for chakras, and that we're going to use them as 7 major databases throughout the body where we store or bank our information and data based not only on information of knowledge, but also carries the feeling or the emotion that we have concerning that thought or perception. So, as we head toward the first chakra, the root chakra, which we're going to attempt to start talking about today, is your first data basis. It is your first one. It is your foundation, fundamental, that begins the story of your incarnation. The minute that you have gone through all of the first you go through, if you remember the class, first you have to go through the spiritual conception, gestation, and birth, which was in the mind of the Creator. So the Creator came up with an idea. The idea was of itself. I am. Wow, I exist. I'm not just some infinite, eternal thing out here, but now I have an identity of myself. And at that moment, a conception took place. Something came together, and a spiritual embryo was conceived. And then the next stage of the mind that created it, conceived it, put it into a state to let it be formed into something. Gestation. The idea had to take on a form, had to take on a shape. I've got the idea about what it's going to become. What's the idea going to become? And then, at the moment of gestation was finished, the idea is formed into its fruition. It is birthed, which is called in A Course in Miracles extended. The language of Course in Miracles fits me better here because it was God extending itself from itself to become itself. It is itself. The itself is the conceived seed of itself. Okay? Then that became in the form of gestation. And this is where, we're not going to get into it this time, but this is also where the tree of life fits in the Kabbalah. I mean, you could really, I hope at some point we can take another advanced area from where we are with this, but if we did this, we'd be weeks on it. But this is where the tree of life begins being a part of all of this whole story that we're talking about with these energy data banks. So after you've gone through the spiritual, which we've done in this class, probably, I wonder how many people have began the new birth with new conception. Okay. So you got to realize that all of this has already taken place. Everything you want to accomplish in this outer world does not need to be created. It's already created. There's nothing to add to creation. Nothing. If there is, then there's something to add to creator. And that takes away this whole idea, even though we struggle, and let's be honest, we struggle to define this thing that we can call God, Mother, Father, Source. I'm sorry, those are just words. They're words that come from somewhere else. You know, if I say this word, I can go to that word. Until I finally run out of words, then you're there. Now you're there. I'll be holding it face to face. The minute you run out of words and say, I don't know what else to say. I have no more definition left in me. And you just enter into the silence of being. That's important. Then the Bible says you got to be born again. So that means you got to do this again. What Creator did to create you, you've got to go through this in the physical level, and you have to replay the conception, the gestation, and the birth into physical incarnation. But unfortunately, I don't know of any spiritual schools of thought, and I could be wrong, I don't know all of them, but I personally have not been in touch with any one that teaches the importance of the first birth, the spiritual birth. And we start thinking it all starts with our physical natural birth. And that's where we become unaligned. That's where we become detached, because we're no longer manifestors of what has been accomplished in heaven. There's so much I could say there, because there's such great scriptures that we were found in Him before the foundation of the world, that you were with me when I formed the mountains and whatever. It tells of a pre-existence of ourselves in the mind of the Creator that created us. We lived in that mind as its idea of itself. But it didn't stay just an idea. There's nothing worse than an idea. Even if you come to me with a great idea and you don't put it into gestation to get it to birth, the idea is going nowhere. And trust me, there's been that happen in the last 2 years I've been here. I've heard some great ideas from people, but I'm yet to see the birth of them. You may beg my pardon. But I'm just saying, we all did. I get ideas that I don't follow through because I want to jump from conception to birth, and I just don't want to deal with that gestation period, putting it together, forming it, letting the energy create a pattern for me, a blueprint, and so on and so forth. But this is so important. It's got to be done in earth just as it is in heaven. So again, in the realm of spirit, there was conception, there was gestation, and there was the birth, and the birth is called creation, which extended itself from itself as itself. And that is the authentic you and I. We are that divine idea extended from itself, much like the sun extends itself in the ray, until the ray becomes the ray of the sun. It's not all the sun. In quantity, it's not all the sun, but the ray in quality is everything the sun is in that ray. So the ray can say, if you've seen me, you've seen the Son, and that's what Christ said. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. I am the Son of God. I am the ray of the divine extended out into the outer world. And the great teaching was, you're all a ray that's extended itself from the Son, the source. So then we come into our incarnation, which begins by this, and I don't want to be absolute about this because I don't know if it's everybody. I feel I did choose my parents. I cannot speak for everybody. And I know that's hard on people that ended up with dysfunctional family experience of being abused by a parent or a mother or something like that. I know that's out there. I know there's people that would say right now, are you kidding me? I would have picked that. And of course, that's going to be your reaction that's going to come from the human side of yourself. But I think the more spiritual we become, the more open that we become, that we can see how that everything in our life has been chosen for the purpose to mold us and to shape us into the divine purpose that we carry that has been given to us, our assignment. Our assignment. And I think this is why there's so much unhappiness in the world. And this is why things of the world has not made people really have that deep happiness. All the money, all the materialism, all the fame, you just watch it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a person living in a tent under a bridge somewhere or in a Beverly Hills mansion somewhere. People are still dealing pretty much with the same kind of yearning. I call it sacred yearning of the soul. It doesn't seem to have any way in which it stops with any group of people because of circumstances. It's a collective yearning for something that can't be filled by all of the external world. And I think what that is because we have lost and fallen out of alignment with the purpose of manifesting what's already been accomplished in heaven. And that's why I think this class happened the way it did and snuck up on me, because I wouldn't have chosen to go that direction with the Indrican and all of that. I mean, I would think, oh my God, they're going to be so bored with all of that. But I understand why that's happening, because it was our chance to go back and realign ourselves with divine creation and realign what we have formed creation to be and bring it back into alignment with creation until we have an inner created life and an outer created life. And when that happens, there is no inner outer. Isn't that what Jesus said in the Gospel of Thomas? When the inner becomes the outer becomes the inner. When all of that is broken down between this and that, then you shall behold the manifestation of the kingdom of God on the earth. So it's so powerful, this statement, be born again. And again, I love taking it back from what fundamental Christianity has done with that term, and how they've defined being born again without understanding that it is divine principle, divine purpose, divine law. It is divine blueprint. And I think where the ego system of thinking under religion / spirituality has come from is to keep us from remembering that what we're trying to accomplish is already been accomplished. And that's the link of that is called faith. That's why Peter is the first power that Fillmore comes with, is Peter is faith. Faith is not a blind, I believe it because the church says it. I believe it because the Bible says it. I believe it because my preacher says it. That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about remembering what already was. And then the great question is, if that's the way it was and was created and it was so perfect and whole, then how in the world did it end up like this? And there lies the answer, is how we left the path that shines brighter and brighter into the full and perfect day for the path that seemeth right, and therefore is death. That's the two paths the scripture speaks of. A path that shineth brighter and brighter toward a full day, or a path that just seems right, but the end of it is death. And what death means there, death to manifestation. How many people live an entire life being religious, memorizing the Bible, knowing all these religious and spiritual principles, and manifest nothing? Because manifesting is the new birth. And if you don't know how to birth it by beginning with conception and gestation, then you cannot birth it. There is no birth without a conception. So we had to come back and redo that. And that's why all of this is being put into a course, and we don't plan for this to get bias in that way. All right. So the first database, or chakra, begins the moment that you begin the birth of your incarnation. But actually it begins before that. That's the thing we know now. We've got to stop making the origin the origin of life. And I know that leans us toward what politics has done with this and religion has done with this, into the subject of abortion and all of that. That's not where I'm going. I'm not going in that direction. I'm just telling you principle, spiritual divine principle of how things work. Things start from a seed. Everything out there was a seed. The seed was the idea for the tree. Tree wasn't there, but the idea was. And then the seed got planted in some good ground. Ground that's watered, ground that is tilled, ground that is even fertilized. Sometimes it takes fertilizer. Why? Because the seed has to die. Seeds don't come up. It's what's in the seed that lies the whole oak tree. The whole oak tree is in the seed. It's in its DNA. It's in its blueprint of what it's going to become. But you can hold this seed and by religious faith say, I got an oak tree, I got an oak tree, I got an oak tree, I got an oak tree. And the scientists out there saying, show me. But I know in this is the oak tree in potential and possibility. Everything that this seed could become is already in there. It doesn't just happen when it pops up into manifestation. It has to be manifested in the unseen before it is birthed into the seen. So you put that seed for gestation. The seed has to go through gestation. And the gestation period is what prepares it and gets it ready to manifest itself to become what it is. Not to become what it wasn't, to become what it is. If the seed became what it was, then it would just become another seed. But no, the seed carries the potential of that which it's going to become. But first, you got to realize the seed is the shell that holds back the fruit of the seed. So the fruit cannot be released until the softening of the seed. So all the things that it draws out of the earth, all the minerals, the water, the fertilizer, all of it plays a part in softening that seed so much that the seed breaks open, dies away, and releases its potential toward birth. Now, if you could take that into your own life, one of the greatest lies that's ever been told a human being is that you can be born into this world without any pain, any suffering, any disappointment, any hurt, any challenge. That's what you're here for. Earth is the good ground for God's seed to fall into. That's why the story starts out in a garden. The whole thing happens in the Garden of Eden. And it says, go till and take care of the garden. And I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it. You're going to till this garden. You're going to multiply. This, I'm putting you in there, but you got to do it. So I'm just saying, if you look at your life and realize that there's been some better times, good times, not so better times, and really rough times, all of that you've drawn into your earth experience out of the ethers, because all of it is the recipe to break you, the ego, the mask, the persona. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure we're still there completely. I'm not sure that we're 100% authentic with ourselves and with other people. I still think we still tend to put on our masks. Isn't that interesting? That masks is an issue today in the world. Why? You got to realize everything is telling us something, teaching us something, and telling us. And we think we don't want to wear these masks, but we've been comfortable wearing the mask of ego most of our life. Because that's where I get the validation. It's becoming who you want me to be, who you think I should be, who society wants me to be. Then I'm accepted. So you try to fit into the tribe of the country club and the tribe of this club and the tribe of this religion and the tribe, because you keep looking for an identity that's bigger than yourself. But I think all of you who are here and listening to me today have the yearning not to be a part of what the world validates you for, but to be a part of a place to create an environment, a space for the fruit of the divine to manifest and flourish in you. And you are the desert that blossoms like the rose. So I'm just hoping you're saying everything works together for good. So your first chakra is going to start at the root chakra. The Muladhara, it's called, which is not important, it's Sanskrit, but that's what they call it, the Muladhara chakra, because the word means ground. And it is the first chakra. So I said all that to say to you that it does not begin at physical birth, but it already has been going on from the time of spiritual conception and through all the physical conceptions. See where I'm going with this? You can't just say that there's one conception spiritually and one conception physically. It's taken many physical conceptions to get you to the point that we are at now, that we can start opening up to realize that the answer is not making something happen that hasn't, but to realign ourselves with what already has taken place and been successful. So let me just give you a little bit here that I think is so good, and this is coming from Dr. Gerber's book, one of my favorite of all books that I've promoted for so many years, Vibrational Medicine. Just let me indulge me for just a moment. One of the prime differences between the approaches of Newtonian and Einsteinian, I guess it would be Einsteinian, medicine is that their viewpoints of the human body. Newtonian mechanic thinkers, albeit sophisticated in the molecular biology approach, see the human body as a series of intricate chemical systems powering a structure of nerve, muscle, flesh, and bones. The physical body is viewed as the supreme mechanism, an intricate physical clockwork. So this is what your medicine and everything is built on in the West, on the idea that your body is a machine. It's like a big clock with parts that make it up. The solid nature we now know of matter is but an illusion through the senses. The new perspective describes matter as a substance composed of particles which are themselves points of frozen light. Your blood is frozen light. Just as water molecules at a very low temperature become ice. The new perspective describes matter as a substance composed of particles that themselves are points of frozen light. And by the way, about your blood, it teaches that life is in the blood. Oh, you great Bible scholars know that. But that's what it says. Life is in the blood. Let's go one more step. Also says that life is the light of mankind. Life is in the blood. Life is the light of all mankind. So when spirit became light and fell into the density to become physical, mental, biological, it became trapped. I really like trapped better than frozen. Frozen's good for an ice analogy, but actually the blood that runs into your vein is trapped light. And I think with all my heart, that's why the Bible is such a bloody book. Now, religion has turned that into being all about sacrifice, suffering. But why is there so much about blood from one end to the other? Because it's trying to tell us there's something in the blood that is light and life. The wave-particle duality of matter suggests new, previously unconsidered qualities of human physical structure that allow a new model of the physical body to be constructed. When we will explore within this class, and what we will have to look at is the continuity of our physical system with through higher energy systems. The subtle energy system plays an integral part in the total functioning of human beings. The physical system, far from being open, has become a closed system. That's why we teach in the tuning fork work to all people who do modalities of any kind that it's better to work on an open system than a closed system. I don't care if you're doing Reiki, tuning forks, or any modality to do with energy work, healing touch, Psyche, any of them that's out there and popular, you would have a much deeper experience and better experience if you first opened up the system of the person that you're working with. You got to open their energy bodies, you got to open their etheric, you got to open their chakras. So the first chakra that I want to talk about is basically the first of the database. The database. Tim, do we have a definition of some? There we go, that's what I want. So the location is at the base of the spine, most of it know. And that's not totally correct, and I know we get uncomfortable with this, but actually it is between the anus and the genitals. That's the perineum, it's called, the perineum. So you're mostly setting right now on your first chakra. But it is given the coccyx, but actually the coccyx and the sacral sort of interact and overlap with each other, which would be then the second one that we'll get to in just a moment. The basic issues of the first chakra is survival, vitality, stability, security. Now, I've shared with you that there's some things I've dealt with in my life that I've learned was innately weaved into my nature, when it was not learned after I got here. I brought it in. So people who are kind of born with a nature of being insecure, having anxiety, being a little flighty, not very grounded in their life, most likely that is what has gone on in the first chakra. Which again begins at the time of we start replaying the physical rebirth system of conception, gestation, and birth. The spiritual one was successful. Are you with me on that? That's why Jesus said, "It is finished." On the cross, it is finished. There is nothing you can do. You can't crucify it. You can't kill it. You can't do anything to this. It's already accomplished and done in the infinite, eternal heavens. So be it. That's what we're saying. So be it. That's an exclamation, affirmation. And so it is. That's important. We got to come from so it is. Even when we don't see any that is. When we even don't even see anything that it's become. But then when we got this into the density of physically starting to incarnate into the physical story, it has taken what I believe several times to do and play out the conception, gestation, and rebirth to a place in which you became open to move into what is called restoration, or the restoring of everything spoken by the mouth of the prophets. And this is what we've been promised, that as the age of Pisces is ending and the age of Aquarius is beginning, in that overlap period, that there's going to be many things that are going to take place that's going to finish up one age to initiate us into the new age. Now, without getting too much into it, you have to kind of ask yourself, how did I get here? when you know so many people that's not where you are. And I'm trying to be careful with this because the language is so egoic, and I don't mean it to be in any way egoic. It makes me feel humble to realize I know what I know. And do you think I know it? Absolutely, I don't know everything, but I know what I know. And it's been a journey getting here. I don't know how many lifetimes. I don't know what the years are, the ages are, the number is. I don't know anything about that. But I know, and especially in this one, the intensity of this lifetime to get me where I am today has taken a lot of fertilizer in my life. I could not walk the easy, smooth road to get where I am today. And I'm not complaining. I'm explaining to you. And you all know. And you all have a story, I'm sure, of the things that you've been through on every shade, the good, the bad, the ugly. But it's all been there forming us for this time. This time. What do I mean this time? It's called in the Bible the fullness of a time. Fullness of a time is when electromagnetic fields are so weak that we don't have access to ourselves as information, and we need a part of our inner self to show up outside as a teacher. Buddha, Jesus, some teacher that shows up on the earth is at times of low magnetic fields. When magnetic fields are active, then we have more access. And right now is a time like that. We really don't need a lot of outside gurus and big teachers to follow. That's not at all, because you're learning to connect with the teacher in you. See, the guru in you. I know this is silly, but I love it when we spell guru, G-U-R-U. When you find your own guru inside yourself, then you need less, because you're starting to have access to the book of life. The real book, not the ones you got hid in the closet that grandma left you, or wherever you have it. But it is so important. So, what we know today is that we start banking our data of the incarnation story at the very time of conception, within a matter of a very small time, which is approximately 10 weeks or so, maybe. I don't like giving numbers, but around 10 weeks, there is what's called the quickening. The quickening means this is taken. That's why most, if you're going to have abortion and do abortion, should be done within those early weeks, if that's your belief system. But not after. That's the most horrible thing to think is late-term abortions and all that's ridiculous. Who would ever believe in that? I didn't understand. The second thing is that most miscarriages happen early. So most times that a soul says, no, I'm not coming in. This is not time for me. And I so appreciate, I was just reading a story about a wonderful doctor, I can't think of her name, in Arizona, that is doing a tremendous work with counseling women who are considering abortion. And she is giving them a whole new teaching and a new way of looking at what this whole process is about, of bringing forth life. And she does teach them that often if you don't want the pregnancy, or the pregnancy doesn't want to happen, that most women will not have to have the abortion, and it will abort itself in a miscarriage. And most likely that does happen, that there are times souls do not want to come in to the earth for whatever reason. It could be a timing thing, or whatever else. Anyway, I'm not getting into that part of it. What I'm getting into is the fact that at about a few weeks, there is a quickening that this is going to take, is what I'm saying. No miscarriage, no abortion, all that's past. You're in for the long haul. The quickening between the abstract and the scene has taken place. And the baby leaps. Pretty soon the first movement of the baby is the movement of the fact of the quickening. And at that point, the soul that is incarnating, the spirit soul that is incarnating, begins the process of connecting and matching the frequency of the body it's going to live and inhabit for a lifetime. That cannot happen quickly. It has to take a period of time for that to take place. And that's why gestation is such an important time in the process of birth, because this is the time that the birth can take place, is in the gestation, right? And many things happen in the gestation period. One of the things is that sometimes people have taken on scripts that are not considered the most normal human lifetimes. And I'm talking about people who are born with particular challenges. This is why it is so hard to judge people because they're different in any way, or because they have a physical issue that is different than most people. Those people learn that inside themselves that they're only fulfilling their purpose, their script. I think it's hard for us more than it is for them, because of the fact of this is the way it should be. This is the way it always is. This is the way the world would define it. So all souls are on a mission, an assignment of some kind. And that's a big subject because there's so many areas there we could look at, our sexual orientations, our gender. There's so much right now that is popping up out of the collective unconsciousness that's been suppressed and suppressed and suppressed because we want to live in this black and white world. Either this, if you're not this, you're that. And there's so much that's been lost that we need to be open to. So the first chakra color is a very deep red. It's not a fire engine red. It's a deeper red, maybe somewhat like this, a little bit. It's a deep, deep, rich red. Why red? The Bible starts out with mankind called Adam or Adam. The word Adam is an interesting term. It's not the name of one man. It's the name of an entire bloodline. The A is the Aleph. Dam in Hebrew is blood or red man. And there's so much there I could talk about, because one of the first things that happened was the making of the pottage, which is made out of red lentil beans. The earth, all of this has to do with the density of the color for life in the human level is blood. Every one of these are going to have a mantra sound, and the first chakra is Lam, L-A-M, is called the Bijai, B-I-J-A, seed sound. So the sound for your root chakra would be picking up, say, an Om tuner or something, and just using the mantra LAM, L-A-M. Every one of these have a similar, and we'll talk about a little bit later about what and why they are these 3-letter seed sounds and what they're actually meaning. If your first root is balanced, then you have a greater sense of security in life. Some people are just more secure in their body, in their life. Some people are just not easily swayed. They are more grounded in what life has offered them. They handle it well. They've got their feet on the ground. They're connected to their earthly experience. People that's first chakra is in balance are people who are not haughty, egoic, but they're very down-to-earth people. They're people that you can be around and feel secure. They make good friends that are secure, that you can trust. They make good partners, companions that you can trust. Everything that you want to invest in and be a part of should have a good balanced root to it. Even this community. You should feel secure here. You should feel safe here. You should feel empowered here. You don't need ministries to come in here and disempower you. And I hope I've done my best to keep you empowered and not dispower you. That's my goal, so that we have a good root chakra here at HeartLight. Stable. How many people you know that's just not stable? You can't trust them. You can't believe half what they say. They're just unstable. And they mean well, but they can't seem to follow through on it. And it's not a stable relationship. That's first chakra stuff. Energetic, optimal weight. People that are overly living in their root chakra tends to be people of more people who are more heavy, more earthy, more grounding. In Ayurvedic, that's called the kapha. You have the Veda, the Vada, the kapha. Kapha people are people that tend to be heftier people. They're strong and hefty people. Nothing wrong with that, but it's something that can be an unbalance too in the chakra. And again, these are the things, if you don't take care of these, you can go on every diet you want, you can not eat, you can do everything, and it will not change because you haven't changed the blueprint of why, the reason you've manifested this in your life, whatever it is. Eating. Now, first chakra food definitely is dense food. Red meat. Meat is density food. Now, that's not saying you can't have density food in balance. I don't think that. I think that's something you got to figure out yourself. But if you're living on density food all the time, then you need to look at the balance of your root chakra. And you'll see that the food gets less dense as we move up the chakra level. So as people are moving up the chakra level, there should be an adjustment in their diet without straining. See, that's what doesn't work, is when we have to try, and we have to give up what we love and whatever. I mean, there's just some things that just gets pushed aside and you don't want it anymore. You don't need all that bread that you thought you used to have. You don't need to eat beef 7 times a week. Maybe you're down to 2 times a week. So all these things should be adjusting around us as we take care of these issues. Proper elimination, those are things we don't want to talk about, but they're real things that people deal with in their lives. Now, if it's balanced, you have the security, humility, grounded, stable, energetic, and you stay pretty balanced in weight in your body, and all those things are proper. And if you're balanced, you feel, you not only are, but you feel insecure, and you feel all the wonderful things that this chakra can offer you. Is my time up already? All right. 6 ways to balance your root chakra. I'll go real quickly through it. The root chakra is often thought of as providing energy to other chakras. Remember, it is your base chakras for all other chakras. So if it's blocked or imbalanced, your other chakras likely are as well unbalanced. If you feel controlling, quick to anger, undriven, self-conscious, your root chakra might need balancing. Here's some of the things you can do, and I thought they were kind of fun and easy. First, see red. See the color red. In your visualization, seriously envisioning the color red glowing brightly at the base of the spine, where this chakra is located, is the beginning of the root chakra cleansing and balancing. Start with a simple meditation of imagining bright red light at the base of your tailbone. Picture this red light extending down your legs, your feet, and grounded in the earth. 2, dance. I have found that through my life to be one of the best grounding tools for me. Has always been dance. And I don't care if you can't dance or you think you can't dance. Close the door and move your body. This is one of the best ways to balance this chakra. Even better, turn on music, sing along, as singing cleanses your throat chakra as well. Sing and dance. 3, get on a yoga mat and do some yoga postures. Now, let me give you a couple. If we have yoga people here, one of my favorite ones to do is called the baby posture. And that's when you can lay down. You can do it in your bed, but if you can lay down and this is not easy for some of us, but I've learned to do it. Grab your feet. You know, like a baby plays with her feet and puts her legs and her feet up. Man, if you want to get a good first chakra balancing opening, is to take your legs, hold your feet back in the baby pose, and breathe in through the perineum, through the chakra, is an amazing experience. And it almost is a way of unconsciously taking you back unconsciously to what happened to you as a baby, with the opportunity of undoing anything that was done to you that you're carrying as a mixed pattern that's affecting your adult life. So I always try to picture that. I'd do it, but you wouldn't want to see me do it. But
I thought you were volunteering.
Well, I would do it. I'd be glad to do it. I would do it. But another thing is just to take each knee and bend it back toward the chest. And then the other knee toward the chest, and then both of them toward the chest. And in all of those, you'll feel that part of the body opening up. You're opening up your first chakra. So when it gets dense and closed down is when you start having the trouble. 4, take a shower. This is a wonderful root chakra cleanser, where all physical animals, in addition to being intelligent, thoughtful human beings, embrace and love your physical by being completely present as you bathe. Mindful moving is a powerful form of meditation. Taking a shower can be a meditation. Anything that you're focused on what you're doing in the moment and are mindful of is a meditation. Zen out on a walk. Take the idea of mindfully moving on your walk with you. Concentrate on your foot leaving the ground and connecting to the earth again in each step. You'll give your mind a break and cleanse your root chakra at the same time. I try to practice that. When I first met Tim, one of the first things he taught me was how to march, because he was doing marching bands and teaching marching bands, and he taught me how to use my heel and use my foot to recognize how that works, that it's not one thing there, but there's many things working together to do that. So zen out on a walk. Get a pedicure. This person says, I had to throw this in. My grandfather had a friend who was known by saying, you can always tell how well a person takes care of themselves by how they take care of their feet. This might be a bit of an exaggeration, but loving your feet and taking the time to pamper your physical body are great ways that you can care for your root chakra. I definitely believe that. I think there's great oils. Oh, there it is. That's the baby pose right there. But you see how that opens the whole root chakra. It's a tremendous stretch. It's good on many levels. It's good stretches for your muscles. It's especially the inside of your legs right here, which we don't usually take care of. You know, I only know about this because of a massage therapist. I couldn't figure out why the massage therapist got there, that it was so sore. It felt like different than anywhere on my leg is on the inside of the thighs. But that is because of all the things that are connected there in that first chakra. Very good, Tim. Thank you. So get a pedicure. That's just 6 things that I thought was doable and maybe most of them fun to do that can help you with your first chakra. Any questions or remarks? I'll open up for a few minutes, and thank you for you that are joining us live, and we'll be getting off. We want to thank you. And again, thank you so much for your support for this class. So,
How do you know when that chakra is A-okay? I mean, you have to do these things for 6 months, or,
Just visualize it.
you use your pendulum or however you use to check things.
Okay.
Or come and see me. And I will do tuning forks. I can tell you through tuning forks very easily. And I'm about to open up again. I've had 2 or 3 people ask me, and I just haven't been quite ready, but I think I'm really close to start taking some clients in again a little bit, since the vaccines and all that are making such a difference. Anybody else? Feel free. Nothing? So that's your first data bank, and we will continue and finish that up and go to the second one. But this is the one that everything from your conceptions experiences to all your birth experiences records the data in that first chakra. Everything that happened from conception to your birth and up until about 5 years old is in your first chakra. That carries that story, part of your story. And that's why you got to become as a child. To be a healthy adult, you got to be a healthy child. And by the grace of the sacred, the divine, it has said, I will let you be born again and again and again until you get it. That is grace. I'm sorry, people who think that God gives you one lifetime to get it all, that's not a very merciful, graceful, intelligent being. I like the one that says, I know you're not going to get it the first time or the second time. I see where you guys are. So by the grace, I'm going to give you as many times as it takes for you to get to that place of enlightenment and awakenment. But we are closer But just what we're sitting here talking about tells us that we are getting closer and closer to that collective rebirth of humanity. So be it. So let it be. Anybody else, real quickly? I'll let you go. All right. Thank you for coming, and we'll continue on. This is a vast subject, like everything else. There's so much that can be said about these, but I think that we will be able to cover a lot of this in our classwork. Let us just take a moment. This is our opportunity to let the presence, I call it, the presence within each and every one of us to come out and create a presence bigger than the sum of its parts. Let your inner self come out and play for just a few seconds, a few moments. Divine Presence, Holy Spirit, we invite you into our experience in time and space. Your loving, gentle, passionate, patient nature that works with us as we choose. Today, let us choose again. Choose life over death. Let us choose inner peace over the warrings of the many, many facets of time and space. As we feel this presence sweep over us like a cloak being put upon our bodies, a garment of light, restore to us the attributes that you have extended to us. The love you are, the peace you are, the joy you are, the light you are, the intelligence you are, the wisdom you are, the knowledge you are. Be awakened within our consciousness today. Holy Spirit, continue to lead us and guide us here at HeartLight as we enter and put our foot into uncharted territory of a new norm, a new age, a new time, a new cycle. Today, open our root chakra. And the things that we learned that are no longer in alignment with our innate intelligence be completely repatterned into higher consciousness. And I just want to leave it right there in this moment. Leave it there. No, don't leave it there. Take it with you. Yeah, take it with you. Take this moment right now, this calm, peaceful moment that you're feeling right now. Take it with you into your world, into your life, into your home, into your family, into your marriage, into your partnership. I am a child of God. I am calm in the mind of spirit. I am peaceful in the mind of spirit. I am open and ready to receive in the mind of spirit. I am healed in the mind of spirit and restored back to my perfect DNA and pattern of creation. And so it is. And I bet you I could just stay right here for a little while. It's so peaceful. But when you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right. Thank you so much for coming. Again, we're really, we did something different in the exercise class today that we're kind of excited about. But instead of doing mechanical, we decided to let every action of our body come out of our etheric energy body. And boy, it took on a different dimension, didn't it? I mean, instead of raising your hand or whatever, we waited until the energy, everything we did came out of energy, moving our body, rather than our body moving energy. And I thought it was great. I thought it was so great. So I think you're still missing not coming and doing the movements with us. We'd love to have you. All right, bless you. Have a great day. It's a beautiful day. And we'll look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.